Hello, my name is Mark Koopman. I am in the APS 922 Strategic Leadership class at Fort Hays State. This is my vision statement presentation for how to develop a vision statement for high schools. So as I look at it, I like to look at the process first. What is the process that we're going to be utilizing? How are we going to get people together? So the first thing that I would do ahead of time is create some type of mapping strategy, something that lays out the timelines, lays out some and identifies some of our work that has to be done, has some deadlines, obviously. I also like to look at the TOES model, looking at for the threats, the opportunities, weaknesses, and strengths of different missions, utilizing different words, even different meanings, and again, how they all work together to get us to a final goal. I want to identify the goals, the outcomes. It's more than just graduation. That I want to get beyond graduation. I think it's very important to have those strategic discussions far in advance so that students know what they're getting into, so that families can make decisions based on their education. And again, I think those outcomes, again, have to be achievable. Um, yes, it can be part of a SMART goal, but if that goal is not achievable for all students, then what do? Then you have to go back to the drawing board. So I think it's important that we keep in mind that all these things have to be achievable. One of the things that I really look forward to in a process are people that are dissenters. It's okay to have people that are verbally objective when you put together your committee. So let's look at that. So we need to put together a group of stakeholders, um, someone that's going to imagine what our future can look like, someone that's going to have those visions and scenes in their minds of what it is that we're trying to do. So I look at people, we already have a parent advisory committee, good place to start. We have a group of lead teachers, of course, classified staff. And then I think it's important to look at some outside influences. Who else in our community can have a say in this? Because again, what we turn over to them as an end product will be their workers. So again, I think it's important for those people to have an input as well. I want people that are open but very rational, developing that system. So again, we may consider, again, system mapping just to help us navigate through the ins and outs of those difficult discussions. Also, as part of the process, when we get down to the end of it, we want to review that process. We want to listen. We want to send it out to our community, send it out to those same stakeholders, send it out to their stakeholders, refine it, bring it back. Let's listen to them, hear what they have to say. And then again, if we have to review it and make adjustments, we do. And then you send it back out again. It's just a cycle to make sure that we're really hitting the goals that we want to hit. So again, I think that's an important task. I think it's important for us to focus. And again, I think we need to listen when we do that. We focus in on what it is. So it's important that we don't get too wordy. We want to make it somewhat memorable. We want a mission statement that people can look back on and go, oh, that's where that is. So I think that's important too. And sometimes what isn't said can be just as important. So what people say and don't say can both be listened to and focused on equally. Again, I think it has to be relatable. Everybody from early on, people from outside the district that are moving in, people that are in the district that have been here and have long experiences, current students, future students, they all have to be able to relate to what it is that we're saying our mission is. And I think it's important maybe even just to create listening sessions, opportunities for groups to get together, bring together their ideas, and just listen to what they have to say. So what data do we look at? We look at a lot of different data. I think it starts very simply with pointed surveys out to the parents of our students. Then we bring in the community members. I think it's important to bring in those elementary and middle school families because, again, those students will be your students in the future. I think it's important to review the soft goals. So when I look at those, Sander talks about some of those soft skills that we have to develop because when it comes to our current status in the workforce, it has changed dramatically over the last even 25 years. That workers are needing to be more interpersonal. They need to be more critical thinkers more than they ever have been in the past. They don't need to be great typers. Everyone can type. You can voice to text, voice to type. but you have to be able to collaborate with people, and those are more important. So again, do your post-secondary skills match up with your community? What did that survey say that they want from you? Looking at the performance frameworks, even in our state assessments, it looks at our performance frameworks. They have a what we call the P2P, or the post-secondary workforce to professional look at it, and they indicate to schools what you're doing well and what you're not. And of course, if you want to dig down and get into the SAT data and DIBELS, although those don't indicate that you're going to be a good worker, they may indicate that you have knowledge and skills that will allow you to be successful. Other points of data, I think, again, the post-secondary skills. What does your community need? What is it that you're saying they have to have in order for you to be a successful worker or successful citizen in your community? So I look at those. And then a couple big points here. When I think about a vision statement, we want to address the equity. We want to look at what it is that students have access to. Yes, you can access a program. Yes, you can access the classes, but do you have equity? Do these teachers grade the same? Do they have the same rubric? Do they look at things the same? Do you have the same ratio of students to teachers that shows the diversity of your school? Whether that's a diversity of race, of gender, whatever, are those equitable? And I said, does your staff look and sound like your students? I like the little cartoon there, because again, equality is everybody gets the same box. Equity, though, is everybody being able to see the goal, to see over the fence. So again, when I look at that, we have to have some cultural awareness, some inclusivity in our schools. Again, those things, and again, these are just some minor ones, but I look at the clubs. What are they saying? What are they doing? What are they offering to our students? And again, what is fair? Does your school look like your community? I think that's an important question to ask as well. Ethics, this is one that I struggle with a little bit, but when I look at the ethics of a program, I look at those that are driven by expectations. People expect a school to turn out a certain level of product, a certain level of graduate that has skills, has abilities, has what they need for the workforce. I look at the district policies. District policies tell us what is right. Obviously, things have happened in the past where we have to set rules. Well, society has rules too. So for us to again start our students down the path of understanding that they are guided by rules, by laws, I think that's important for us to say. And then handbooks, even within your school, you have different rules within the school, how we're going to treat kids, what we're going to value, what it is that we want the dress code to look like, what it is that we're going to do on these certain days, on these certain events, how we're going to give back to the community. I think that's important that we ethically look at those products ahead of time and really look at what it is that we can do to give our students, again, the expectations and guidelines to put them on the right track. Okay, so that's my thought on ethics. Social justice, as it looks at a combination of really the combination of both ethics and equity. I see those things really as the same, and I guess I want to say that it needs to keep pace. It needs to follow what society is showing us. It needs to really be diverse in its presentation. So I asked the question, whether or not we are teaching kids from To Kill a Mockingbird or A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, two quality books that maybe get have the same type of message, but again, a little different version. So again, personal experience. What are the needs of the students? Do our students look like characters from To Kill a Mockingbird, or do our students look like, sound like, talk like, and have expectations and disadvantages like the characters in A Tree Grows in Brooklyn? The other part of social justice I think is important is restorative justice. When it comes to discipline, my dad always said, if you only look at a nail as a nail, you only can swing a hammer. What he meant by that is not every problem is what is the same as the next problem, and you can't always have the same consequence. You have to be able to look at individual students, individual situations in a way that allows for us to treat them differently. Yes, here's my example. Yes, both students broke something in a classroom. However, for one student, it's the first offense. For one student, it's the fifth offense. Yes, they had the same action. No, they don't get the same consequence. So again, I think that shows equity. But again, how we restore justice to that classroom, to those students, is just as important as well. So then I look at the non-negotiables. What is our non-negotiables? For me, it's students first. If we don't make decisions that have focus on students, then we're making decisions without all of our senses. And I say that with the utmost respect, that when students have issues, when we look at students that we're concerned with, I want them to know that they are students just like every other student, and that we're going to focus on their safety, their success, their discipline, and their improvement. What it is that we're going to move forward with. I want to have a code of conduct that's transparent. I think it's good for our student, our staff, and our community to know this is how we're going to handle things when situations arise. And again, hiring and retaining quality staff is a non-negotiable. We want to have the best available people, and when we get the best people, we want to keep them. We'll train them our way, we'll retain them our way, and keep them. That is how we're going to show consistency to our community, that we want the best for our students. And the last piece that for me that's a non-negotiable is service work, service to humanity. I want our students to understand that they are part of a bigger culture. They are part of society, and that society has opportunities for them to be very successful, but they also have to give back to our community. Future trends, I think it's important that we create our future our way. When we look at how we create our future, really, that is us building for ourselves. We're feeding our own future if we understand and create what is available to us. Know your community. Are we a blue-collar community? Are we college educated? What's the future look like for us? Where I live at in Pueblo, Colorado, David Packard was born in Pueblo. What if, and he's a member of part of Hewlett Packard, what if David Packard hadn't taken his knowledge to California back in the 60s? What if he would have built Hewlett Packard here in Colorado? What would that have done for our community? So, a couple thoughts there. And then the last thing is we look at the future of our schools. What do we offer? We offer a lot of programs that are focused on students being successful in the workforce. So those are some ideas that we've built: the STEM, the CEIBS, AMAC, the Create Academy. Those are ways for our students to be successful in non-traditional ways. So what does it look like? What does a vision statement look like? So this is the only thing that I'm really going to read, and it says, we shall maintain a process to enhance student learning in accordance with the expectations and needs of our students and staff, parents, and stakeholders. Providing a safe learning environment drives decisions, resulting in the optimum level of successful learning for all. Each student will be encouraged by their goals, learning, and growth, so they may provide themselves and others with a better quality of life. We will educate and promote diversity among our students for living a healthy lifestyle while they strive for excellence, learn values of hard work and dedication, and embrace the challenges of high school and beyond. I think that, for the most part, hits the points I wanted to make, and again, a vision that we can take parts of and really feed into our curriculums. So what does it look like? What is my conclusion? I want it to be timely. I want it to be productive. I want to be strategic and inclusive, be open-minded. I want us to be prepared, and I wanted us to communicate what it is that we expect to happen. And all of that develops a daily purpose for us to go to work at our school every day. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate the opportunity to provide you with my thoughts and my vision for our school. Thank you.